In more than 4 billion years of existence, the Earth has faced challenges that defy our imagination. Gigantic asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions of colossal proportions, abrupt climate changes, and 5 times mass extinctions. The most famous of these, the one that ended the reign of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, forever changed the trajectory of life on the planet. A 10-kilometer diameter meteor collided with the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, covering the sky with a cloud of dust that lasted for years, extinguishing more than 70% of the species then existing. Today, however, it is not a cosmic cataclysm that threatens the Earth's balance. It is not a volcano, nor an uncontrollable geological force. For the first time, the threat is conscious, rational, technological, coming from ourselves. Homo sapiens, the species that became dominant, has also become the main agent of destruction on a planetary scale. Scientists warn we are living through what many call the 6th mass extinction event. Unlike previous ones, triggered by uncontrollable natural phenomena, this time the causes originate from our choices and lifestyles. The pace of destruction is so intense that it challenges the very definition of geological time. In just a few decades, we are causing a collapse of biodiversity that would naturally take millions of years to occur. But what are, after all, the forces driving this process? What are we doing that is so serious that it threatens not only other species but potentially ourselves? The answer lies in our habits, in the policies that guide our economies, in the way we extract and consume natural resources. The advance of agriculture and livestock farming, especially intensive meat production, swallows tropical forests, savannas, and wetlands, transforming landscapes rich in life into barren fields. Every second, hectares of original vegetation disappear under chainsaws and criminal fires, making way for pastures and monoculture plantations. At the same time, we pollute soils, rivers, and the atmosphere on an unprecedented scale. Waters that were once crystal clear become toxic due to industrial waste, plastics, and pesticides. The air in cities and industrial regions carries invisible particles that cause diseases, making people and animals sick. Environments become hostile, unable to sustain the biological diversity that took ages to develop. Overexploitation is another side of this coin. We catch more fish than the oceans can replenish, hunt mammals and birds to the brink of their existence, and harvest medicinal plants and valuable woods without giving nature time to regenerate. Every year, species disappear before we even have time to get to know them. As if that were not enough, we transport species from one continent to another, from one ecosystem to another, either intentionally or by accident. Invasive species, without natural predators, multiply rapidly, suffocating the original forms of life and profoundly altering the environments. The pressure on biodiversity also creates conditions for the emergence and spread of new diseases. By destroying habitats and bringing humans closer to wild animals, we facilitate the transmission of previously isolated viruses and bacteria, increasing the risk of global epidemics. Finally, there is climate change, the great accelerator. Driven by our greenhouse gas emissions, it alters natural cycles quickly and unpredictably. Global warming melts glaciers, raises sea levels, causes droughts, floods, heat waves. Entire ecosystems collapse, species migrate unsuccessfully, reproductive cycles break down. The numbers are impressive and frightening. The Living Planet report from WWF brought an alarming fact. In just 50 years, the average size of populations of more than 5,000 monitored species has dropped by 73%. Imagine, almost 3/4 of all monitored animal life has disappeared in half a century. Other estimates indicate that the current extinction rate is 1,000 to 10,000 times higher than the natural rate observed in the geological past. Species that would take thousands or millions of years to disappear simply vanish from the map within decades. We are, in fact, accelerating a process that, by itself, would already be devastating. And we are not just talking about charismatic animals or rare plants. Each lost species represents the breaking of a web of complex relationships on which the stability of ecosystems and, ultimately, human survival depend. Given this scenario, the question is inevitable. Are we doomed? Has all our technological advancement, our intelligence and creativity served only to lead us to a dead end? The answer, fortunately, is not so simple, nor entirely pessimistic. Science, which has given us the diagnosis, also points to solutions. Regenerative technologies, capable of restoring degraded soils, purifying water, and capturing carbon from the atmosphere, already exist and can be expanded. Ecological restoration projects show that it is possible to reverse some of the damage by replanting forests, recovering springs, and encouraging the return of native species. The reduction of consumption, especially of products that strongly impact the environment, can slow down destruction. Plant-based eating, conscious energy use, choosing sustainable transportation. Every small decision counts. Public policies that place life, both human and non-human, at the center of decisions are fundamental. Incentives for the circular economy, effective protection of natural areas, combating deforestation and pollution, support for traditional communities and indigenous peoples, guardians of the largest remaining biodiversity on the planet. Is there still time? That is the question that echoes in all environmental forums, in classrooms, in social movements, in conversations among concerned friends. The clock is ticking, it's true, but the history of mass extinctions shows that life is resilient and surprising. Even in the darkest moments, the Earth found ways to reinvent itself. New species emerged, ecosystems rebuilt, cycles reorganized. But the big question is, will we, humans, be present in this new stage? Or will we be just another footnote in the long history of the planet? The future is, more than ever, open. And it depends less on chance than on our conscious choices. For the first time, a species is aware of the power to radically transform the planet, and perhaps also to avoid its own extinction. If we have come this far, it is because we have learned to understand, reflect, and act in the face of challenges. Every choice matters. What we buy, how we travel, how we vote, and what we demand from companies and governments shapes our collective destiny. Supporting organizations that work in environmental preservation, staying informed, questioning, sharing knowledge, rethinking our relationship with the planet. These are acts of resistance and hope. It is not just about saving exotic animals or distant forests, but about ensuring a dignified future for ourselves, our families, and the generations to come. The future is not written. It is being built every moment by me, by you, by all of us. We can be the first species to choose not the path of destruction, but that of regeneration. Earth has survived unimaginable catastrophes. Now it depends on our courage to change, because there is still time, because life, in all its beauty, diversity, and fragility, deserves that chance. The future starts now. If we have come this far, it is because we are capable of understanding and transforming. Every choice matters. What we consume, how we move around, what we demand from governments and companies. If you want to take the next step, support organizations that work on environmental preservation. Get informed, question, and share knowledge. And above all, rethink your relationship with the planet. Because the future is not written. It is being built now, by me, by you, by all of us.